Hello and welcome to days 10 and 11 of my trip through Croatia. I'm back to traveling solo now. I will take the ferry from Supetar to Split, and then I'll have today and a little bit of tomorrow to see Split, and then I'm heading finally back home to Zurich. I finally reached my final destination. I'm in Split. I was able to check in 2 hours before the official check-in time, and I was so grateful. Let me show you the room. I'm at floor 14. So the view is amazing. This is just a simple room, not an apartment anymore. This is it. I love it. Oh my god, the view is like really nice. You can't see the sea though, but I've seen the sea for the last 10 days, so I think I'm fine with this. So this is the ferry port. And then there's like a small little promenade that reaches exactly the old town. If you follow this promenade, you'll get to the famous Riva of Split, which is actually also a promenade, but apparently it's where all the interesting things happen. And we reached the Riva. This is the Republic's Place, a square surrounded by beautiful buildings with Venetian architecture. It's a social spot with lots of cafes and terraces, but also a cultural hub where festivals take place sometimes. Now I'm headed to the Old Town, a charming UNESCO heritage site with cobbled streets and historic buildings. But there's also garbage bags in some corners, so I had mixed feelings about this. Soon I reached Diocletian's palace and the bell tower, both very important landmarks of Split. And of the Game of Thrones fandom, I guess? So I bought a ticket to see some of the attractions in the old town of Split. Let's start with Jupiter's Temple. That's also known as the Baptistry. Jupiter's temple was built in the 3rd century, but in the 7th century it was transformed into a baptistry. Initially, it was a part of Diocletian's palace. I paid 15 euros to see 4 attractions, and I started with the small ones. This and St. Lucy's Crypt. Both were basically one room, so there was not much to see. Yeah, so this is the Crypt of St. Lucy. Next attraction, the Cathedral. So this was the cathedral. It's very small. I expected something bigger when I saw the bell tower. It's pretty nice, but like... Finally, time to climb the bell tower. This one was worth it for sure. There is a 360 degrees view over the city and it's really nice. I guess that's what I was trying to say there too, but the wind totally messed up the audio. Is it worth it to pay the 15 euros tickets to see everything? Well, the bell tower and the cathedral are worth it. If you pay for them separately, it's gonna be like 12 euros. So yeah, if you want to save the 3 euros, you can, because like the Jupiter's temple and the crypt are not such a big deal. This place is called the Vestibule, and its round shape was perfectly preserved. It also has great acoustics, so you'll often find musicians singing here. After all this sightseeing, it was time for lunch, and I somehow ended in a restaurant that has some special murals or so. So there were a lot of tourists passing by and taking photos while I was eating. It was hilarious. So now I'm trying to see all the gates of the old town in Split, and then I'm gonna climb to a viewpoint. So this is the Golden Gate, and right in front of it there's the statue of Gregor Ninsky. And do you notice the thumb from his finger? If you touch it, it's supposed to bring you, I think, luck or fulfillment of dreams. So let's touch it. Next stop, the Silver Gate, or maybe something else if I get lost. And we didn't get lost. This is the Silver Gate. Oh, I think I saw it from the inside earlier. Feeling confident. The next one is the Brass Gate. But before that, watch me getting sidetracked. Ooh, shiny photo opportunity. And back to the main quest. So this was the Brass Gate. It's the least impressive. It comes out of the cellars. And I think we have one more. Apparently I had seen the Iron Gate, which was the last one, earlier today. So these were the gates. My last wish of the day was to climb the Marian Hill, half of it at least, and well, see the sunset. Short break at the Volva tree. I swear that's legit, it's on Google Maps too. Of course, the sunset was exactly behind the hill, but I hadn't realized that at that time. Many steps later, I was at the viewpoint. I don't know, was it worth it? Maybe. So here we are, we made it to the last day. It was an excellent trip. I enjoyed it so much. But before I go, I still have maybe half a day in Split. I'm gonna start with the Diocletian's palace's understructures, or like, so to say, cellars. Apparently they're one of the best preserved understructures of this type in the world, so now I'm really excited to see them. Then I would like to probably see the Ethnographic Museum. I've read a lot of good reviews about it. What I still haven't decided on is the Game of Thrones Museum. Everybody says it's overpriced and underwhelming. I have a little bit of FOMO, but I'm not like such a huge fan, so I think I can live with it. But talking about things being overpriced, I noticed that Split, as opposed to every other place in Croatia I've been in, is a bit overpriced. The prices seem to be like inflated for tourists. Like some practices are borderline scammy, so to say. One thing I noticed is that obviously there's menus posted in front of all restaurants so that you can decide if you eat there or not, but they don't contain like the drinks menu, which is overpriced. I've been to 2 places yesterday because I don't have like a kitchen here, obviously. I've ordered something like a juice or an iced tea, like 200 milliliters of like a glass of something, and it was like €7, which is, I think it would be overpriced even in Switzerland, which means it's like huge for Croatia. And I think this is a way to inflate the bill at the end, because people don't expect drinks to be this much. And then if you order 2 drinks, then it's basically your bill almost doubled. Obviously Split is a very touristic place. You can go and take trips from here, excursions, boat trips to a lot of islands. And I guess this also made these practices possible. I mean, I would come for a day to see the city for sure, but then I would probably just take some accommodation in Trogir, which is maybe 40 minutes or 45 minutes away by car or by bus. And from there, you can take the same excursions. It's, I guess, less crowded. And I think you can save a lot just by staying there instead of here, even if you can do basically the same things. Enough about scams. Let's see something interesting. The entrance was €7, which, well, it seems pretty big, so I think it's a fair price. If this place looks familiar, some scenes of Game of Thrones or things, yeah. Imagine that he built this whole thing and now he sits in a corner of a basement. Look at the masons markings. No, apparently they built skylights in certain places to just light the whole thing up, which I think is very ingenious. This place was really fascinating, definitely worth paying for the ticket. So next stop, the Ethnographic Museum. Let's see what they have. The Ethnographic Museum had a lot of traditional costumes, but also a few day-to-day objects that people used in the past. It's interesting if you are into this sort of things, which I am. What's nice is that the entrance to the Vestibule's terrace is included. Just follow the cat. Honestly, I feel this is the coolest place I've been in Split. The terrace was so epic. I think it's a good last memory. Now I'm gonna find some food and go to the airport, I guess. It's almost time. Thank you so much for coming with me on this 11 days trip through Croatia. Make sure to watch all parts and don't forget to subscribe to see more exciting adventures all over the world.